story. She's a teacher, currently based in Alabama, I believe, and she's going to tell us all about her time capsule that she made with her students. As you know, this brand new series, every week we do talk to a time capsuler who is passionate about the time capsule they've submitted. We have, luckily, so many people who've graciously submitted their photos for a documentary that a filmmaker based in New York City is actually creating about time capsules. So Brenda is one of those amazing people that took the time out of her day to submit these photos of her classroom making a time capsule. And of course, our time capsulers, they really do come from all over the world. Last week, we had someone from Bolivia, Canada, and of course, we have a fellow American today. So I'm very, very excited to announce Brenda Turner. And we're just going to be talking about her motivations, the contents of the time capsule, the records, and talk about the future, what it's going to look like when they do open these time capsules. And Brenda, I want you to take it away. Just introduce yourself a little bit to the audience who might not know you, and we will hop right in it.
Well, hi, once again, I want to thank you for having me. I'm Brenda Turner, and I'm a single mother of two adult children, and I have five grandchildren and whom I love dearly. I have been an educator for 19 years here in Huntsville, Alabama. I haven't spent my entire time here, but this is home. And so I'm back. And with coming back, I've had the great opportunity of storing a time capsule with some of my students that I've served this year.
Yeah. So with this time capsule, why is it meaningful to you? Talk me through, what's in it, and why each object was chosen. I know that people are very selective with what they put into time capsules because you don't have too much
Mhm.
space to work with a physical time capsule. So how did you guys really
Yeah.
narrow down, select these items? Why are they meaningful? Walk me through that process.
Okay, so I, as an educator, I subscribe to a weekly email where I get from Ben Bach, who I met during one of my gifted conferences in Birmingham, Alabama, and he would often send out a weekly uh, problem-based learning scenario. And within this one, it was a time capsule. It was about a time capsule and storing the time capsule. So um, with everything that we had gone through that was so different and challenging for the kids this year, I thought I would present it to the kids about storing a time capsule for our 2020 year, just to store some things and how life was like for us or had been like for us during this unprecedented time of the pandemic, home which I had not experienced and nor had any of my students had experienced in our lifetime. So we thought this would be a great opportunity to sort of capture this time in history with my students. So what we did was we talked about it in a time capsule and why we uh, take and create and store time capsule. Then as a class, we created a list, and I served third through fifth graders. So it took us a time to compile this list because I don't serve them at the same time. So we
Right.
compiled a list of things that the students thought would be great to go in the time capsule.
Hmm.
So because the list had 30 or 40 items in it, we had to narrow that list down to
Right.
what was most important that could tell our story um, about life during this time.
Yeah.
So with that, we chose to put articles that highlighted the current events and things that happened in 2020 that's really big.
Right.
So one of the things was the pandemic itself, um, that we decided that was a part of the article. Also the presidential race, that was really big, and that was a part of the article. The Black Lives Matters protest, and then the wildfires that were going on
Right.
in the United States during this time. Um, so that the article that we used told the story of these events that were happening during our lifetime. But for our pandemic, we put some items that we were all familiar with. on a daily basis because of the pandemic. As we put masks, kids were like, we have to
Or
put a mask in
yeah.
there, and and we also put hand sanitizer. We were given quite a bit of sanitizer and different disinfectants, and have cleaners and the things that they would do while we were in school. So we put a little bottle of sanitizer in, along with a glove, the rubber gloves that are used, and a picture. We had a picture of our class that captured a picture with our desk shields that we use to help shield the droplets that would leave our bodies. And we also put a letter. One of my fourth graders wrote a letter to our future, um, to the future students who would open that time capsule.
Yeah. See, I love
Yeah.
that. I think I have a bit of a sweet spot for this case in particular because when I was growing up in Melbourne, Australia, we were in year
Mm-hmm.
7, so seventh grade, and they made us do a time capsule similar to this. And when I
Mm-hmm.
graduated from high school, I had since moved back from Australia to America. I got in the mail my time capsule from seventh grade. So I was able to open it. Yeah, so I guess I've been doing time
Yeah.
capsules for a while now. They've always fascinated me, and it was very well known at my school, St. Leonard's College, that all the seventh graders did their time capsules, and by year 12, when you're a senior, you got them and were able to open them. So I guess my question for you is, do you guys have a set time on when you're going to open these? If your fourth grade has written a letter to future students, how old?
Yeah.
What is the year? What is the year mark on that?
Well, we set it for 10 years later,
Okay.
um, for the capsule to be open. So it would be open in the year we're in 21 now. It would be open in 31. So we stored two capsules because I served two schools. So one is around the 2nd of February, 2nd or 3rd, that one will be open. And the other one was like a week later in the other school that it would be open. And we stored, it was just so great because we were able to get our school custodians to help us with the storing of our capsule.
Yes.
Yes, so they were so kind and so gracious to get a ladder, and even within the idea of where to store it, they
Mhm.
helped us come up with a place.
Yes.
So and it was great. So we stored in one of my schools because I submitted two time capsules
Yeah.
to the International Society of Time Capsulers. One was stored right outside our media center, our library,
Okay.
in the ceiling. And so,
Yeah. No, this is great.
and
I'm
with it, we
at the photos right now. I wanted to ask you which one should I pull up because I can do the screen. The New Hope Elementary or the Owens Crossroads ACE. Which one would you like?
well, the Orange Crossroads ACE is the one I'm talking about where we stored it outside of the media center. And
Okay.
there's a column there. And so the custodian suggested that we put it there. So he had to help us. So he actually put stored our capsule up there, and then we made a marker with an arrow pointing and telling them when to open it, reminding them of where the capsule is and the date that it is to be opened.
Wow. Okay. So for
Yeah.
our listeners, they might need to see it visually. So I'm actually going to show you exactly what your record looks like. I don't know if you've seen it before. I think it's very exciting, but oops, let's see if we can all be in there. Actually, I'm going to make you. I just want to walk through it and show you exactly. So I'm going to take myself out, but here we are on Google.
Okay.
Let's go on
Uh-huh.
the World Cat together. So the World Cat is the global database. It has almost 16,000 libraries in 107 countries. It's the world's largest library catalog, and you guys are actually on that. So I don't know if you knew this, but because we have digitized your time capsule with the International Time Capsule Society, anyone will be able to find it, even if for some reason they don't find it in the ceiling. So we'll do Brenda Turner, Not Forgotten, which is Not Forgotten
Yeah.
is the technology behind the International Time Capsule Society, and we've used the technology to make sure it's never lost. We search everything, and you have a good name. But if you scroll down, here it is. So you have two. So this is a global database, Brenda. So of course, the fact that you
Yes.
number 6 is pretty incredible. But which one would you like me to click on first? This one?
So the OCR one was the first one we stored. Yes.
This one?
Yes, the Orange Crossroads.
Okay, so we'll look at that one first. So obviously we're
Yes.
in the WorldCat. We're in the world's largest, database system, which I love to show people because a lot of people don't know what it looks like. But so if you ever want to show anyone your time capsule, you can scroll. You can put your name in, Not Forgotten, because you've submitted it. Here's your time capsule.
Okay.
And then you scroll down and you see View Online. Now, under your name, you've submitted 2 time capsules, obviously, and it's all linked. So even if we chose the New Hope Elementary one, it's also down here. But
Yes.
we'll do this one first because I think, it's the first one. So we scroll down and then we View Online. When we click View Online, it brings us to your library record.
Yeah.
And this is great because you will always have this no matter what happens. If your school goes under construction and something happens to the time capsule, you will always have it. And I want to show you, there's a huge storm by me, so the Wi-Fi is a little slow.
Okay.
But I actually might have pulled it up beforehand. Let's see. Oops. Okay, well, there it is.
Yeah.
So here is
Okay. Yeah.
your certificate. And this one is for the Owens Crossroads ACE class. We have the Madison County Schools, your name, the opening date, which you said is the 2031. Very exciting. You guys have captured the year of 2020. I think it's incredible what you did. And beneath this, we have all the photos that you submitted that will always be on this library record, no matter what happens. And it's preserved for a very long time, I believe 150 or 300 years. Even though you have the date set for 10, you'll be able to find this library record for your whole life and your children's life and your grandchildren and all of that. So you go down. So tell me, I'm going to just walk with you. I want to show you these 2 records, and I want you to just, talk a little bit about the photo and the significance, the context behind it. I think our audience would love to know.
So that's a photo of my students at our classroom at Orange Crossroads. So of course, we posed for this picture, and we made sure we had shields up to just to show what life was like in the classroom. Well, of course, we posed. We were not working in order for us all to get in the photo.
Yeah.
We had to pose with our mask on and with our desk shields. And those are my students. Those are all of my students at that school from 3rd through 5th grade.
Yeah.
That I see. Yes. Yes.
And this one, oh wow! So these are the makeshift shields that you guys had to do.
Yes. Those are the desk shields that when we were able to go back into the building, this was one of the safety measures they put in place to help us not continue for anyone to get COVID or spread COVID. This was a measure put in place by having a desk shield that would, like I say, help control the droplets that would come from us, along with the mask. And also, like I said, those were the material face shields, because we had other criteria to where we could not be within 6 feet of a student for any more than 15 minutes when we were, in a class, and all the students had to be at least 6 feet apart, even when they're in class. So that was our challenging year as students during this pandemic.
It's almost unbelievable. I'm going to put myself in here really quick. It's almost unbelievable that we lived through this. And I think just telling people that we did, quite frankly, isn't enough. Because if someone told us this 20 years ago, 10 years ago, we would not have even believed it. So I think it's just pretty incredible that we are able to do this and capture this memory, not only for you again, but the teachers in the future. God forbid anything like this happens again. They might be able to look at this and say, hey, we've gotten through it once before. We can do it again. It serves as inspiration and hope, really, for future
Yes,
generations, which I think is,
yes.
and
I agree. I agree. Yes.
you guys have just so many good things. This is what you were talking about, huh?
Yes, the help, the help that we have from our great custodians who help us store it up in the ceiling, who help choose the best place for us to store it to where it would be kept
Yeah,
until the opening time.
yeah.
Yes,
No, I love it. I
yes,
really do. I think this is it's great, and it's cool that he's really putting it up there, right?
yes,
Wow. So you
yes, and
have this on there, and you're gonna make sure that it's always able to be seen, right?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's great.
It won't be forgotten that they will see.
It's not forgotten. No, I love that. So this
Yes,
is what it looks like. This is the great picture that you have with your classmates, or your
yes,
students. I said classmates. Um,
yes.
they all look very happy to be there and to be part of history, really.
Yes, that they were excited. They were excited about that, and so at the time we stored it, actually, I don't see them all at the same time. So we had to gather at a certain time
Yeah.
of the morning. We all gathered there to store our time capsule.
Wow.
Yes,
No, I love this.
yes,
I really do, and I
yes.
think this is a similar one. It might be the same. I just want to double check
It's
because we have two time capsules under your name, so I want to make sure that we are
right.
what?
Yes, that's right. Now the second time capsule is stored at a different elementary school, and well, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the
No,
thing.
see if we go
It
back.
was stored in the media center.
So this is the New Hope Elementary. This one,
Yes, New Hope was yes. That's the second one that we stored,
and it's the
and
same
it was
concept.
stored actually. Yeah, I'm sorry. Could you say that again, Ellen?
Oh, it's just the same concept as the one before. It's the same way of accessing it on the WorldCat. It's all organized for you, which I think is great. Um, and so you've done this at a. Explain to me the difference between these. Let's open them up.
Well, actually, we put the same thing in both time capsules. They're both time capsules. They're just in different locations.
Okay.
We all experience, the same thing, and just to keep it very much similar
Yeah,
to our stories were very much the same.
I love it.
This we did the same thing. However, now with this school, I had one of my students to suggest doing a reunion to open the time capsule.
Wow.
And so I said to her, I said, that's a great idea. You can organize it and get us all back together to
Yeah.
open the time capsule.
You know,
Yes,
that's a really great point. I don't know if you can hear the thunder and lightning behind me. That is. But um, these time capsules are, I think, the gift, right? There's two gifts in these time capsules. The first is creating them, getting everyone
yes.
together, collaborating, listening to one
Mm-hmm.
another, especially about their experiences with COVID and how this year has gone for them. The second
Yes,
gift is the future celebrations that follow these time capsules, and that is in the form of reunions. And we see this quite frequently with college graduates when they make time capsules together and they get together for their reunion later down the line, and they're all incentivized to actually get together because they get to open their time capsules and they're excited to do that. We see this with brides. They make such good anniversary gifts because you can open them. And hopefully, if you're still married, knock on wood, it's a great gift for an anniversary gift. If not, it's funny
yes.
entertainment for a divorce party. But I mean, these really are great, and I hope that you guys can get together and open them and look back and see where you are, as opposed to, gosh, I mean, this online learning and everything.
Yes, and yes. So that's a picture, yes, of my students that we were captured in. That's all of the kids also. Actually, we were getting ready to kick off learning about chess in this picture, but we were, but we were all, together getting ready to do a kickoff.
Yeah.
And they thoroughly enjoyed uh, coming up with the things to go in the time capsule. Once again, we did a list and choosing and storing. We had one grandmother who created a flag for us
Wow.
to mark our spot of our time capsule in the opening date. And that this one we stored inside of the library. And we also, I talked with the custodians, had them to get me a tile. And so I painted that tile and put the wording on it about our time capsule.
Wow.
And so our time capsule is stored above that tile, that ceiling
Wow.
tile there.
Wow. So you really have a way to see where it is. And I love that. I love that you're able to see that because just in case with the other
Yeah.
one, that piece of paper, um,
Yes.
this seems a lot more sturdy. Wow.
Yes, and we thought this is a good place also because every student usually visits the media center. So every student would get an opportunity to see that we have a treasure in the
Yeah.
ceiling.
Oop. Where we go.
Yes, yes.
No, I absolutely love that. And I think we'll look back at those pictures really quickly. But I mean, these time capsules, you guys have put a lot of effort into storing them in the school. You've gone out of your way. It's very noticeable. And how are you ensuring that that yours is not forgotten and that your descendants will be able to find it or your students will be able to find it when the opening date is set for 2031? Because most time capsules, I don't know if you knew this, most physical time capsules, I think it's 80 to 90% are actually lost. So people go through the
Uh-huh.
effort of making them. I think it's important to note that that statistic also, it really rings true with the time capsules that you bury in the ground because that
Hmm.
gets difficult,
Right.
especially with the rain, like the crazy rain that I have behind me. It'll probably shift all
Yes.
the time capsules in the mud. But this is a clever idea. So you put that in the ceiling to really ensure that we'd be able to find it, right?
Absolutely. Yes. That's why we chose the ceiling to make sure that and the place that we chose it. So we intentionally chose a good place to where we know that it wouldn't be forgotten.
Right.
That there's that outward message that's going to remind everyone that there's something there.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
So obviously you like time capsules, and do you think that they are a useful way for preserving the history? Not only just the 20 time capsules with our mask and our sanitizer, but moving forward as well. Would you make another time capsule? Do you think it's useful for history preservation? That sort of thing.
Yes, I think it's a great way. They've been around for many years, much longer than I have been. I mean, I don't know the origination of the first time capsule, but I know that they've been around for a long time and they sustained this long.
Yeah.
So I think that it will continue to be. I just think the way that they will do them will change.
Yes.
Um, because of the changes and the changes in material, the changes in technology, and all of those changes that are happening. I think that the time capsule will evolve to fit our changes, with
Absolutely.
technology and things.
Yeah. It's funny that you say
Yeah.
that as well. So I was going through the International Time Capsule Society records, and George Washington
Hmm.
actually has a time capsule with us. Yeah,
Wow.
it's in. They
Excellent.
built it. They placed it in Washington. The location is unknown because back in the day with masonry, they used to actually build the time capsules into buildings. They used to store
Uh,
them just like you guys have done, which is really
uh,
considerable to note. But they used to store them in these buildings, take a brick out or put them in
uh-huh.
and stuff like that. So they say right now that the location is unknown, but his George Washington's time capsule is in Washington and it is registered through the International Time Capsule Society. So they have been going on for a
Oh,
long time. I think it's pretty cool that your classrooms is in the same category as George Washington's. You're both registered
Yes, me
National
too.
Time Capsule Society. Yeah. Um,
Yes.
and I know that so many people have been doing them for a long time. Physical rot is definitely an enemy of a time capsule,
Hmm.
and data rot as well. When we start merging our way into digital, data rot just
Yeah.
occurs. I don't know if you're familiar with data rot. I learned about it recently, but it's just the general decay of your media over time because we
Uh-huh.
take photos and videos nowadays of everything. And the reality is that the cloud, it's like terabytes of information, and they really can't hold the quality of each bit of
Yes.
information. So at the 10-year mark, your data actually starts to fall apart. So if you have any pictures on your phone or videos that are older than 10 years or on your computer, and you go to open them and you see two things. You can either see a notification that says file corrupt, or you see that spinning
Uh-huh.
wheel of death that just keeps loading, but you
Yes.
never see the picture. That means data rot has infected your media. That's what we're worried
Wow.
about moving forward, and that's why, like Not Forgotten, we actually ensure that that never happens. We take care of it so you don't have data rot, which is really killing everyone's stories and their memories. So physical rot was once the enemy, and now we're talking about data rot. So
There.
have you
Yes.
done anything special to ensure that your time capsules that you've recorded here are able to survive to its opening date? 10 years is a good is a good amount of time, so I don't want to get you worried.
Yeah, well, yes, and I thought so. And even with 10 years, that would give some of my students, well, most of them would be out of high school.
Yeah,
So it wouldn't be too long, but it would be a good amount of time for them to come back. Um, if, and I'm quite sure some will want to, myself included, to go back and make sure that to be a part of opening and being the ones to say, hey, we're the actual ones who stored this.
yeah,
And so, and this is how things were when we stored it, to come back and see what school is like,
yeah.
when it's time to open it. But just storing it where we stored it, and then for the amount of time that wasn't a long amount of time, that we think that it will survive um, the decade that it'll be stored.
Yeah, well, I think you definitely have a benefit putting it, above ground, not beneath ground, because a lot of
Uh-huh.
people don't realize when they're making these physical time capsules, even if they're putting their stuff in plastic bags and securing it and making sure
Yeah.
that no water can get into it, Mother Nature is very powerful, and it usually just breaks right through those barriers.
Yeah.
So this is a good idea that you're putting it up there, and you mentioned even in the future, since it's 10 years, it's not that far away, but not tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? When your students come back, when you obviously come back to open it, what will the world look like?
Well, that's a great question. At least what the world would look like, because it's 10 years, and we're in this technological age now.
Yeah,
With how things are evolving and changing so much.
yeah,
Um, I would think that we would be a lot farther in, as far as virtual
yeah,
things, because and it's interesting that we were thrown in to um, this virtual world because of the pandemic, and because no one had planned, because it hadn't happened. And I've heard somebody say it's like building a plane in the air. So it was like, that we were thrown into this. However, I know a lot of great things have come out of being thrown into this. And 10 years from now, uh, I see that, maybe when I look at it from a student or teacher, you know, standpoint, that we may have more students who are doing things virtually.
yeah,
And of course, a lot of people have started working from home, um, because of this. That means that our earth has gotten a rest, and
yeah,
so I think the earth will start to replenish a little, better, because of the pollution from the exhaust from the cars, or just our busy lives of going.
yeah,
Um, But as far as green, I think we'll get back to being a little greener, but technology would have advanced, to a different level to where we will, I'm not exactly sure, but be doing things a lot different than
No,
what we're
absolutely.
doing, how we're doing them now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one, I think it's a great attitude to have with the silver linings of COVID, because it's
Mhm.
been a long year, and I think that you're right. We have given the environment a break. We're not commuting to work and home, and we really are sticking in our vicinity, in our area, and being able to
Yeah.
help the climate a little bit, and without the gas and the pollution and
Mhm.
stuff like that, and reducing our carbon footprint, which I think is pretty incredible. I think it's definitely going to change when we merge even deeper into the age of technology, which I feel like we're only at the tip of the iceberg right now, and that kind of brings me to my next question. When we think about the future and the technology of time capsules, when
Mhm.
you did these time capsules with your students and you put them in the ceiling, but imagine, a
Yeah.
Brenda Turner in 50 years. How do you think she would make a time capsule? Like, what would the future technology of time capsules be or look like?
You know, as I thought about that, and I think things would probably be really automated at that time. I mean, entirely to where you store a capsule and it will automatically look, it will automatically reveal itself or come um, be open during the time that it is to be open. Um, I mean, that's what I see that we could be going towards, to where there's not really the human component would be actually storing whatever, and it more than likely would be data
Hmm.
um, that the time capsule would be stored from a data standpoint, and everything that you put on it, and make sure too that whatever is stored, it'll be retrievable
Yeah.
during
No.
that time. But I think it's going to go away from actually hard items, uh, material things, to more of a digital data
Yeah.
stored
No, I agree.
of time capsules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to bring this up too, because I want to just get an idea, is that, in the future, I don't think something like this is ever going to happen, really,
Right.
with the way that we're moving in the direction of these
Mm-hmm.
time capsules. And these people have really taken the time to figure out how to utilize the most of the school, and they did, similar to the Freemasonry back in the day. They put their time
Yeah.
capsule in the actual building, which just builds so much context to them as well. And I do
Yeah.
think, look at, like, everyone is just so enjoying this
Yeah.
process. And I hope with the future of time capsules and the technology that we have, we'll be able to collaborate and come together, and we won't miss out on that human element. But by doing it
Yes.
digitally, we will be able to preserve them for much longer and be able to track them as well, so they don't get lost.
Right. Yes.
You
Yes.
know, and you will have, because your time capsules have been digitized. That's why you do have these certificates and these library records. So I have a
Yes.
feeling that in the future this will become, you will be the first of many registered time capsules, so that we can visit them, look back on them, draw inspiration, and really learn from the past.
Yes. Yes.
That's
And I truly believe that that's what time capsules are all about. And also that we are able to see our progress looking back, uh, you know,
yeah,
in history, to see how far we've come.
absolutely, because we learn retrospectively, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah. And I think that it was a really great idea to get all the students involved, and hopefully they like the idea, and maybe they make a time capsule for their landmark milestone events that are going to happen in their life, like their college graduation, high school graduation, their wedding, their firstborn. There's so many people making baby time capsules
yeah,
to kind of record the growth of not only their children but also them as parents, as they learn and they go down the line. So I think there's just so many different ways you can utilize these time capsules. I really love what you guys have done. I think it's funny that you put the hand sanitizer and the mask in there to really get an idea of these time capsules. And I guess one of my last questions would be, Do you have any advice to give to people? A lot of our viewers are interested in time capsules. They may not have ever made one, but they want to. So, anyone who wants to create a time capsule, are there any tidbits of advice that you think they would benefit from?
Well, I would just say to be intentional about what you put in your time capsules. Make sure whatever it is that it is telling a story about that time that you are actually storing that capsule. You know,
Yeah.
I would keep it simple. I would keep a few items. I wouldn't overwhelm it. Just a few items that could tell the story of that time that
Yeah.
you store that capsule.
Yeah. And I have one more question because that's a good point. You know, if people aren't making them for 2020, if let's say this was 2018 and you were just making a regular time capsule because you thought it was a cool idea, you wanted to unify the classroom, what do you think you would have put in there?
With it, once again, if it was just a regular time capsule, we would more than likely focus on student learning, how they were learning,
Yeah.
some interesting things that they thought about school or the world, and it would focus really around them and school because it was a school based and
Yeah.
it would be school based, but it was focused around their school life or their life, something that would represent, their life or their school life
Yeah.
in
It
there.
sounds like you would want to like interview them in a sense and get a perspective so that they could really
Yes.
right. And I know with the
Hmm.
digital time capsules, thankfully, we're able to put video in them. So wouldn't it be
Yes.
so cool if you had interviewed your students, or when in the future, I bet you can do this as well. Interview your students and ask them about all of the questions that you just said, and actually get footage of them talking about it. Not only their words, because we can get words from a journal entry, a diary, but the tone of their
Yeah.
words, the mannerisms that they have, the way that they smile, they laugh, that could all be captured in
Yeah.
video and kind of put into a virtual time capsule.
Hmm. Yes.
I could,
I agree. Yes.
yeah, being huge.
Yes. It would be. It
Yeah.
would.
But
Yes.
I like your point as well about just keeping it simple, because time
Yes.
capsules are limited in what you can really put in them with the amount of
Hmm.
space that you have.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And is this your first time doing a time capsule?
It is. This was my very first time doing a time capsule. And I just thought I could not pass this opportunity up of presenting it to my students because of the type of year that we had
Yeah.
had with
Yeah.
school.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. And you guys are going to be able to look back on it and really reminisce. Hopefully, you do the reunion where you can all get together. It'd be pretty cool to see how everyone ages. I always think that's interesting.
Yes.
You know what they took from this experience. I know a lot of people have used this pandemic to kind of really think long and hard about what they want out of their lives, and some of them really enjoy the work from home model. Some of
Yes.
them want to travel. Some people just quit their jobs and just made huge life changes. So, with your students going through this in such a formative time in their lives, I wonder, what people they would be if they hadn't gone through this versus who they're going to become when they open these time capsules with hopefully you there as well.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I too, yes, would wonder. But hopefully that with coming out of this experience, with this, that they have lived through and endured, that they would be able to look back and see how courageous they were to go through this and to get through it like they did and still, be okay
Yeah.
with school, you know, regardless of how we had to do school or be a part of school, that
Yeah.
they would be okay,
Yeah.
from it.
No, I love
Yeah.
it. You pretty much captured hope in a bottle, or like in a little box.
Yes.
Oh, right. And
Yes.
just for
That
my
little box.
curiosity, because I'm looking at your photos and I don't see an actual picture of the time capsule. So what did it look like? You said it was a container.
Yes. So actually, it was a plastic container. Let me tell you, it was a container that I had bought from the store with the pretzels and the peanut butter wrapped pretzels in it
Okay.
from Sam. So it was probably about a 12-inch in height and 4-inch deep with 4 by 4 as far as the width and the depth was 12 too.
Okay.
So yes. So it's a little tower of with a a huge lid. The lid was probably about 5 centimeters wide that we were able to put our things in that capsule and seal it
Yeah.
with the lid on it. Yes, and it was clear. So it was clear. However, the articles that we put in, and they were placed into a plastic sleeve, a plastic bag. Also, along when we put the liquid in, it was in its own plastic. Also, it was sealed, but it was in a separate plastic bag to seal it there, just in case, it was spilled. But they were all sealed before they were put into the capsule, and then the capsule was sealed, and it was like I said, and it's clear.
Yeah.
Uh, it was a clear container.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, so when you
yeah.
go to open it, you'll get a little sneak peek before you even really take it apart, right?
A little, but the articles sort of covered because we had the articles that were that when we placed the article into the bag, it covered several of the sides,
Yeah.
most of the about probably 3 of the 4. So you should get a little peek. Yes.
Yeah.
I also had all of my students to sign their name on the capsule too. So
Cool.
they got an opportunity to do that.
Yeah. So they'll really it's very personalized then, huh?
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
how
Yes.
many so every student that was, making the time capsule that was involved in this, from your pictures it seems like it's like a class of 10, right? How many?
Yes. It's from 10 to 14 at each school.
Okay, cool. And now you have
And yes.
yeah. Okay. And they're both 10 years from now, but are the dates the same? I guess is my last.
The dates are 10 years from the date we stored it.
Okay. Okay.
So it's a few days uh, later. The
Okay.
second one was a few days later. I'm sorry. Yes. Then the 2 days later on the second one, then from the first one.
Got it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. I think that our viewers, if there are any teachers watching, that this would be a wonderful opportunity for you to capture how much your students and you, of course, have accomplished while teaching through this pandemic. I'm sure you've had to overcome some tech obstacles that I have encountered as well. But we're all learning here, and I think that we are able to capture a truly memorable time in history that we'll be able to look back on and revisit.
Yes. I agree. I look forward to the next 10 years when we do have the reunion
Yeah, me too.
to be able to open that time capsule with those students who are in that class 10 years from now
Yeah.
to yeah,
And
to
maybe you guys can make another one together in a digital sense, if you're able to, and do like another life series. Because I think that a lot of children that are doing these time capsules love to build upon them as they go through their lives.
yes,
So
yes.
who knows what it's going to be like in 2031? But
That
we will
that's
all
right.
be
That's right.
we don't know, but we know we'll all want to, preserve history and keep people's stories alive, which is really the whole point of this podcast and the reason we're taking people on and having these guests, because you obviously recognize the importance of preserving history and collaborating with others to learn and to heal, especially with the 2020 time capsules. So it's just been really incredible being able to look through what you guys have done, and really grateful that you submitted these pictures. So thank you so much.
And thank you again for having me. Can I say hi to my students at Orange Crossroads Elementary and New Hope Elementary if they ever see this podcast? Hi.
Yes.
You guys,
We'll tag
you,
you in it, and you can tag the school too, so they can see it. And then they can remember a double reminder that you guys have made this time capsule, so they never forget.
yes,
And the school can also figure out how to use
yes,
the World Cat, so they can look it up.
yes, yes,
Yeah. Well, thank you
yes.
so much for your time. And as always, guys, next week we'll have another guest and we're going to talk more about time capsules. But Brenda, you've been amazing. You are the first teacher we've had on our series. So a historical moment for Time with Elyse. And I want to, again, say thank you so much. And we'll be in contact. And if you ever make another time capsule, we'll bring you back on to talk about it.
All right. Thank you for having me again.
Of course. All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, that was awesome. One more episode down, another guest sharing their story. Really grateful for the opportunity to talk to Brenda. And I hope if any teachers are watching, any educators, anyone that's mothers who have survived this pandemic with their children at home, take note of the ability to make a time capsule. Remember, you can always make one digitally as well, and no matter what, it will be stored and able to preserve on the World Cat like we have shown her today. So again, thank you. This is the Hidden World of Time Capsules. This is Time with Elyse, and I am logging off. But